we're gonna go from something sporting,
Sporty Spice.
yes, to something. I mean, yeah, straight up, it is quite sad. Obviously, you know about the death of Caroline Flack this week. From what it's seen so far, suicide.
Have they said how she died yet?
No, I haven't seen anywhere that's like official. It's just been assumed. So I mean, you never fucking know.
Epstein.
Yeah. She could have known some Schofield secrets. But I don't know if you know much about the case, and I thought I had a pretty clear idea of the case. Had like a talk with my bird, and my bird was like, "No, hang on, it weren't like that." So I thought I'll give it a little Google, and it's actually quite fucking shameful what's happened.
What happened?
Basically, from the start, it all kicked off because of an assault on her boyfriend, Lewis Burton, pro tennis player. This was 12th of December. She was arrested for it.
Wasn't it because he cheated or something?
I don't know what he'd done.
Like, I heard. I'm probably chatting shit, but I had heard he cheated, and then she got mad about that or something, and then it all kicked off, and then she ended up
hitting him with a lamp.
Throwing the lamp.
That's what I knew.
I heard that she hit him over the head when he was asleep.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't think that's how it went at all. Which I was really shocked at.
Well, we was meant to find all that out in the court case.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so she was charged with assault, pleaded not guilty. The boyfriend backed her the whole way, said she hadn't done anything wrong. It also, it's kind of mad. She'd hurt herself during the argument, so she had lost her temper and that. She was going crazy.
Just to give a bit of context, I was actually looking into this. It's when you have something like a domestic abuse case, because you were saying that the boyfriend didn't want to go ahead and press charges.
Yeah.
Well, basically, because of obviously like Stockholm syndrome and those sort of things, basically when it comes to the incident happening and you reporting it to the police, what they'll do is, if you go ahead and press charges in that first instance, so if they turn up and he says to them, "She fucking hit me with a lamp," he's got a big old mark on his head, then what they're going to do is take that as, okay, this is, something's happened to him. Something's happened. Yeah, something's happened to you, and you're saying this, and so when it comes to in the future, when the case is coming forwards, you might be sitting there going, "Oh, that's my wife. I don't want her to. I love her. Blah
really
blah
like
blah."
That. He doesn't really treat me like that.
But the police are actually what they're meant to do is take the case for what it is and then look into it further. So even if he comes forwards and says, "I don't want to press charges," they'll disregard.
So he's not allowed to drop the case at all.
No, he's not.
That's the thing. That's the police become the ones that prosecute.
Well, this is it.
Yeah,
CPS.
exactly.
The CPS agreed to drop it.
The victim can end up going to the court case as a witness as the crime against them.
Mm-hmm.
They can go as a witness of even though they're the victim, because they're not prosecuting.
Yeah. Shit. So it's not actually. So the husband might not even be the prosecution.
No.
I feel like a lot of people get that confused.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And that law has saved a lot of people's lives.
Exactly. You'll get a lot of like battered wives and even battered husbands who
don't want to. They know that they should send them down, but they look at them
and they even look at even because of their kids. They're like, "Oh, I don't want my kid to grow up 2 years without a dad or something."
Well, mate, I'm not being funny, but like, if my bird beat me up like badly in that, I still wouldn't want her to go to prison, because there'd always be that, "Oh, she wouldn't last in there. Like, I can't. You got two wrongs don't make a right and shit like that." And they get away with a violent attack.
Yeah.
And so, generally, I think it's quite a good law.
Yeah, I do.
But maybe this is brought up that there should be some nuance to it. Because
that's the
a
thing.
one-off incident and something goes flying across the room, you shouldn't really be going down for that.
No, but this is what I mean. So in the instance that he's now called the police and said this is wrong, that is wrong.
Yeah.
That is when it then becomes
He didn't
a case.
call the police though. This is the thing.
Who did?
The neighbours called the police because they heard it all. And near enough all of the blood there was hers. She smashed the bottle in anger and cut herself. And that's why it looked like it had been such a savage attack. Sort of thing. So there's even really a dispute as to whether it was as simple as sort of, did you cheat on me or whatever? Yeah, with a lamb. It sounded like she was having a tantrum, maybe throwing things around and that, more so than them actually having it out. And yeah, because I always thought he called the police. That's what I always was told. But apparently it wasn't him. Or he might have called the police once the police had already been called, but he was actually calling for an ambulance. And they called an ambulance to the house and they'd say, oh, we've just got a domestic call. We'll send police and ambulance.
Well, what I was saying is, once they get there, once he then gives them a statement,
they take control
that's
of it.
then that's then written into the case. That's then evidence for the case. Even if he comes back and says, it was a lie.
Never happened.
Yeah. It's now evidence for the case. So it either goes to A, she gets put away, or B, he gets done for wasting police time.
Yeah.
One of the two, innit?
Yeah.
So obviously it all depends on who's guilty, who's not. But just because he's coming out and saying, no, I don't want to press charges, doesn't mean it's not going to go ahead.
And also, even if he said something that that would help in her defence, if the police are the ones pushing the charges, the police can't use them statements to help her. So when the policeman tells you anything you do say may be given in evidence, it may harm your defence. It doesn't ever say it can help your defence. That's why I'll never chat to police, because they can't actually help you.
Any good lawyer will tell you whether
never
you've done
chat to them.
something or not done something. You don't.
Do not chat to them, mate, because they can't help you.
Yeah, that is it.
They tell you that they can't help you when they do it.
Yeah. It's written in the Constitution.
So more about the case.
Yeah, but what makes me feel like there already is nuance to the law is the fact that the CPS initially agreed to drop the charges, spoke to all the parties, spoke to the police, agreed it was a one-off thing. They're better off mentally getting on with their lives. But senior police officers pushed for the case to carry on. That kind of makes me feel like it was a bunch of middle-aged white blokes finally getting a case where the bloke's the victim and they didn't want to let it go.
And it's a high-profile case.
Exactly. So they're going to use that as a, don't you worry, we all these men that are getting abused, we'll stick up for you.
It's reputation leverage, isn't it?
And the police do it so much. They love to use scapegoat cases. They love it.
Once it's in law, any other case that comes after that looks at previous cases.
Yes,
so it's a precedent for that.
Same with Man City.
Yes.
Precedent.
Yeah,
exactly. It's set a new set of rules.
Same with Epstein and the kids.
Yeah.
No, honestly,
well, literally,
sweetheart. Honestly,
until they arrest Prince Andrew, that is exactly what they've done.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, even the first bit with the whole...
The first case.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Pandora's
Did
box.
you know that you can not go to prison for raping children? Apparently, if your name's different, no. Shouldn't. It's serious stuff.
It's very bad.
Heart goes out to the victims.
Yeah. If you don't know, look into the first court case.
2007
court case. Yeah.
Interesting
crazy.
As heel.
Man, it's mad.
It's probably more interesting than the death, really. Because the death's kind of obvious, isn't it? If you know what I mean. Yeah. The powers that be. So yeah, she'd hurt herself during the fight, and that was the main injury. That's why the ambulance was called. So he might have been thumped, but he was okay. He's a pretty big bloke, pro tennis player, so he's an athlete. He can handle it. Not that getting hit round the head with anything's okay, and I'm not saying that girls should get a lucky you get a smack before it's a legality or whatever, but she tells the police that night that she was going to kill herself as she was being arrested. And the boyfriend, Lewis, once the case starts, shares a picture of the bed and, like I said, says, "Bullshit. This isn't my blood, and I didn't get hit over the head with a lamp. Can everyone stop now?" And that was on his social media. "She's fucking harmless and the most amazing person I have ever met." And shortly after the death, he wrote, "My heart is broken. We had something so special. I'm so lost for words. I'm in such pain. I miss you so much. I know you felt safe with me. You always said I don't think about anything else when I'm with you. And I was not allowed to be there this time. I kept asking and asking. I will be your voice, baby. I promise I will ask all the questions you wanted, and I will get all the answers. Nothing will bring you back, but I will try and make you proud every day. I love you with all my heart."
So by the sounds of it, it's not even a him versus her domestic
They wanted
case.
nothing to do with it.
This is a police wanting to...
They had an argument. She hurt herself, and they saw that and thought, "Ooh,
Big high profile,
we can
let's run with
spin
this."
this." Yeah, because like technically, if he's never said, which he has said, he said that he's never said about getting hit round the head with a lamp, is that someone at the scene made that up. Reporters didn't just make it up. Reporters tell lies that they've been told. They don't make up the lie. It doesn't work like that, innit? If you get a quote from an unnamed source, you won't get in trouble. But if you come out and say, "I think this happened," then you're vulnerable to libel, whatever. So...
And that's the last opinion we give on the Yak Chat.
It's over now. It's done.
So if he didn't hit her over the head, if she didn't hit him over the head and someone's made that up, then someone must be going down for perverting the cause of justice.
Who said that?
Who? Was it this? Is it the senior police officers that are pushing for the charges? Because
now the case has been dropped, so they're not going to look into it.
That's the end of it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucked.
Yeah, it's
That's
sad.
fucked.
It's fucking sad, man. But apparently, what I can gather at the moment, obviously, it's still all up in the air. We don't even know how she did it, if she did it on purpose, anything like that. But she was apparently distraught at the idea of a video of her from the body cam footage would be shown to the court and therefore the world, because it's a public, basically a show trial.
They're not allowed to do that in the UK, though, are they?
What? With
I don't think they was allowed cameras or anything in the courtroom. So how would that get out?
Body cam of what they had when they got to the scene.
And she was,
Yeah, but,
scared.
the only people that would see that are the people that are
Yeah,
at the
she
trial.
was scared that it would get leaked.
Right.
If you know what I mean. I've lost my bloody page. So yeah, that's what she was scared of, and she just received news of how the trial was gonna go. I think that day or a few days before, and that's what set her back off. I guess the panic that she's never gonna work again because she's gonna be stood there covered in her own blood, probably
A mess.
do you know what I mean? A girl that you only ever seen done up, seen in that sort of state, is a huge chink in like the media armour.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, imagine if something like that happened to Holly Willoughby, she wouldn't be presenting this morning. After this court case, ITV might have had to have dropped her and shit like that because it was just such a... People don't want to be reminded of that whole incident whenever they see her and shit like that.
Well, they don't want that attached to their brand.
Exactly. And yeah, and so I can definitely see where that would have triggered her into a panic almost. But I just want to ask myself and you and the listeners, everybody, that people again are using an event, a public event, to bring in laws that affect people like us rather than the media. So
Well, they're even trying to cancel Love Island.
well, yeah,
And
but
are they really anything to do with it?
everyone on the news is talking about that they should ban anonymous accounts and shit like that online, and any. Yeah, this is what I mean. Just do you remember the
Well, they're
Snoopers
talking-
charter?
They think it's all of the trolls that.
do you remember the
cause,
Snooper charter? The thing
No.
that Theresa May brought in, where they can
Explain-
look through your
explain what
internet
it is,
history and shit. Basically, they found out that people were getting groomed by extremists online through Xbox, etc., etc. So they used that.
It all comes back to terrorism.
Yeah,
doesn't
so
it?
they basically used that as an excuse. They're getting to your kids online, so you need to give us the rights to all of your internet history, your privacy. We can access your data now for free, etc., etc. And they can do that legally, and they need near no proof, evidence, or case to do it. It's just completely opened it up, and they basically painted that as a version, as a thing to keep us safe on the internet, when all it's really done is made us more susceptible to spying.
Mate, it's the same as stop and search with wrestlers in the 80s. Like,
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
law, innit?
It
They
does-
say it's to prevent crime, but it's just
it doesn't
Pretty much
actually prevent crime.
George
all
Orwell's
it does is
Big Brother.
instigate. Yeah.
There's
exactly.
a reason. There's always a reason that sounds good, and then there is the real reason.
Yeah, exactly.
ultimately.
And they've seen this and thought, basically everyone online was going, the fucking media, the mainstream media, the tabloids, they've all fucking done this because she knew that picture of her covered in blood would be the front page the next day, etc., etc. And everyone on mainstream media and in the tabloids and on the news is turning around and saying, it's all of those
trolls.
people online, the trolls, etc.,
They
etc.
love that word because the word troll scares old people.
Yeah,
Yeah, trust me.
yeah. It makes it seem like so much more sinister
Yeah.
and shit like that.
And who's setting these laws as well?
Exactly.
People that don't actually understand it.
Exactly.
That's the issue.
People that don't get the internet.
I think the thing is, if you're a celebrity, you've got to expect to get this kind of thing online. So don't have a social media account. It's as simple as that. And as horrible as that is, they might not get to have that, but they're a celebrity, so you're not seen as the general public.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you'll have someone that runs your Instagram or your Twitter or something like that. If that's the case, don't do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like if you're being cyberbullied, delete your account or block them. It's like, and
Yeah.
obviously as a celebrity, you're going to get thousands of people
You
like.
signed up for that. If
Yeah,
you're going to be,
that's
if you're
it.
trying to be a
Once
public figure.
once you become a celebrity or a public figure, you belong to the public, and I think that's
Yeah.
what a lot of celebrities
Yeah.
miss.
Because
They-
they've got to
they
remember
forget
that
that.
they don't earn the money that they earn.
No.
Like, any one of us could do most of the jobs in media if you had a month's training. In terms
Real
of
talk.
presenting and stuff like that. Like, they're not coming up with their own content. It's not their own shows that they have to write every week.
They're just
They
a
just
face.
turn up and read the teleprompter and go, that's it. That's it. They're just smiley faces
Yeah.
that people can look at for long enough that they don't get turned off the programme.
Mate, have you ever seen them like presenters in real life as well? Like seconds before they go on air.
No.
We all got told to piss off basically by Polly Evans, the news reporter at the Kent show.
Really?
Yeah, she was like, right, get out of the way, come on. Hello.
Yes, that Ian Dale, the one that stormed off of Good Morning Britain the other day because he didn't come with any fucking stats to back his claims up, as per right-wing commenters. And he stormed off and shit like that, saying, there's no room for debate in British politics anymore and shit like that. There's a video of him at Labour conference 4 years ago. He was filming a report and someone was standing behind him with a placard because there was a protest going on, and it's an old bloke, and I swear to God, he literally throws the old bloke to the floor to get him to get off the back of the camera and that. And then, like you say, onto the camera, hey, and everybody, yeah, we're all friends and we were just nice people. And it's, makes me sick, I tell you. Makes me sick.
Well, I think that's what Jonathan Pye sort of
Taps
satirizes,
into. Yeah.
like the fact because he's always like, "Oh, and the general election's on its way."
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on?
Yeah. It's he's nailed it, Jonathan
he
Pye.
has.
That single video setting where he's just on like the things of Parliament and that. Yeah. Big up Jonathan Pye.
So what more about Caroline?
Yes.
Yeah, where's the safeguarding as well for mental health there?
Well, this is it. Someone
I
on
mean,
telly.
if you're a
saying-
criminal, fair enough, and you should be investigated. But
Yeah.
where's the safeguarding for like mental health and?
Yeah. Well, this is it. Like the point that you made about them signing up to it. That also means that social care, healthcare should be signed up to the fact that that's a specific case. Say if my mum my mom was a proper drinker, that would be factored into any mental health help that I receive. Should they factor in the fact that every single decision that person makes is going to be shown to the world every day? Shouldn't that be factored in? So like when you have these public trials and shit like that, should that not be what the secret courts are used for and shit like that? And is it okay like to give them more help than it is a normal person just because of their job?
See, it's blurred
It's
lines
quite
though, isn't
hard,
it? Because then that would kind of suggest favouritism.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
an
Yeah, we
extent.
can't get any mental health help, but if you're on telly every week, you get the fucking top.
I personally think that mental health aspect should be provided by the television company. I think I think part of your contract should be, if things do end up going south in whatever way, we will provide you X amount of this. Like, do you know what I mean? At least provide some sort of, as thin as it might be, some sort of safety net for these people who are putting their livelihoods out there on the telly. Because put it this way, you get 100 cars and people can slate every car, but you've only got one body. You're only one person. So as soon as
you can't change that.
Exactly. So if you look at, take this to Caroline now, she's sitting there saying, "Oh, my one persona, the Love Island girl,
how I get my work,
the nation's sweetheart, is now this bloody mess, violent, blah blah blah." And, she's sitting there, well, like, the only thing I have going for me at age 30 whatever
is that I used to be on
is
telly.
that I used to be that girl. I used to be, now I'm the violent girl. I'm this, I'm that. And so
the only thing you could get is probably Big Brother after that.
Yeah, exactly. And even that's
true though.
But even that's going to be met with, she's going to deal with stuff from that as well.
Yeah.
I think all these reality TV shows, because there's like
third person from Love Island that's committed suicide.
Yeah.
Third person.
Do you know, the saddest thing about it as well is that the precedent that would have been set by that court case is not going to necessarily affect celebrities in every day. It's going to affect the families of certain people that, do you know what I mean? If that happened in a family that, I don't know, you've got 2 young kids and like no one knows who they are, they're not celebrity.
Well, that's it. What if they had kids, man? And they just, for the sake of proving a point, they push someone to the point of...
But where's the mental health, where's the help and precautions for people that aren't like in high profile cases as well? Like, you've got to remember, this is law that will go into precedent that will affect everybody. Do you know what I mean?
If she didn't get the help, a normal person wouldn't have been getting any help. And that's going on every single day. Every day.
That's the thing. All these cases that we end up talking about, it's not necessarily a scrutinise of the person or the case. It's more of a analysis that uncovers the veil on what's actually going on across the board.
System of it,
Yeah, I think
and whether we need to reevaluate our laws and our values
in general. Yeah.
Not just it's like, it's not
tiny
just
ones.
ITV. It's not just
It's not just Love
that.
Island.
It's not just
yeah.
But I think the biggest conversation to come out of this that everyone else except for the media is talking about is the tabloids.
Yes.
And because I've been thinking about this a lot, because obviously I've seen a lot of talk online about all this situation and everyone getting at the tabloids. The one sort of at the top of the roster that everyone's talking about at the moment is the shit cunt Sun.
Yeah, that's what we call the Sun.
The shit cunt Sun. But
big up Klopp for not talking to them as well.
Big up Klopp.
Liverpool, best city in the world, mate. The Sun ain't allowed in there.
But so we're highlighting the Sun, and everyone's talking about the Sun, and that's the shit cunt Sun, and then we look at their owner, Rupert motherfucker Murdoch.
Motherfucking Murdoch.
So we look at Rupert motherfucking Murdoch, and do you know what I saw? Do you know what I saw when it was in the peak of these Australian bushfires and that? Sky News Australia, owned by Murdoch, are putting out global warming claims.
Yeah.
Calling all of David Attenborough's work shit because he got one little fact wrong.
Yeah.
About some sea lions.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous, and like, fair enough, you can have your opinion, yeah, but there gets to a point where
They control
you're not even
people's views.
you're
now.
controlling people's views, and what they're doing is they're installing ideologies into more susceptible people who aren't going to go and do the extra research.
Yeah.
And then what that does is messes up the politics.
Mm-hmm.
So now you've got this fucking... So let's talk about Australia now. There might be a farmer whose whole thing's been burnt, yeah, but because he might not be the most literate person, he's then sitting there looking at the most credible news source, Sky News Australia,
It's the fucking student
and
protesters.
they're saying that global warming doesn't exist.
Yeah.
He can be looking at his house at the fire that's just torn through. He hasn't got any sheep left or nothing. His whole thing has been fucked up. But because he's not literate enough,
Yeah.
he then thinks that it's not global warming.
Yeah.
So then, I mean, the point I want to get across to this, and this is something I can't stress enough, and like, might even repeat it twice. Where's the, like, how do we hold these guys accountable?
Yeah.
Like, where's the repercussions of these things? Because you going out and saying that global warming isn't happening, for example, let's take it back to the situation. You put in 100 things about Caroline Flack. You put in 100 things about Meghan Markle and nothing about Middleton. So all these sort of situations are fucking up people's lives in the millions.
Yeah.
To the point of what, like, even to do with Corbyn and Zionism and Israel and all of that.
All sorts.
Wars.
Rewriting history.
Literal wars. They're rewriting history. And like I said, you can have your opinion, yeah. But when there's no repercussions for damaging opinions, and when these damaging opinions are put across...
Where do you think it's going to end up?
Well, what I wanted to ask is, how are we going to stop it? How are we going to stamp this out? Because it seems like right now, the only way we can stamp this out is people like us sitting here and using the internet to combat the real world.
Yeah.
The newspapers, the tabloids. Like, how else are we going to fucking... How else are we going to tackle it? And the only way we can tackle it is this...
buying it, you old farts.
Yeah, stop buying it.
Like,
stop fucking
like,
buying
you
it. Stop even reading the...
Yeah.
Stop even read... Like, when you... Okay, put it this way. When you go on Facebook and you see one of these articles, do not click on it, because that click gives them money. That click gives them money. Just that one click you do. Oh, you saw the headline, you want to... These newspapers, you at home are contributing just by clicking on it. You might even be sitting there going, even we're responsible for this. We can be sitting there going, what do they mean with this headline? That's 0.01p in their bank account. Do you know what I'm saying? And then that slowly adds up, and
well, they said with
we're all responsible. Like, how are we gonna have ITV sitting there talking about trolls and that?
Yes. But that's they were literally doing it on ITV, Good Morning Britain,
and then after that say but they do that and then say, oh, we love Caroline.
Oh mate,
shut the fuck up. You can't say you love Caroline when you're actually aiding the people who
your friends work at the papers that were just lying about them. And
it's like I saw a post on her the other day, like from when they were slating her. And it was just fucking... It was ridiculous.
Pure
like, it was
character assassination.
It was literally like they had a picture of her with a handbag, and they'd like done a diagram around her and like pointed stuff out, like to the point of like slagging off her shoes and her handbag and the blouse she was wearing,
but
and her hair.
Read that and they go...
Can I just say?
And they can't see past the little mind tricks. They can't
that's
get past that.
complete plagiarism of Diane Abbott. Like, literally every single thing you just said there is plagiarism, bro.
Like, episode got a number wrong, but that's not as bad as people in government never getting the numbers right.
But it's the thing about her
and now
shoes as well.
Yeah,
like,
a photoshopped image, and like I said, there's still like, not to make it about wings, it's just that's who they are. You still get right-wing YouTubers using that picture. And it was photoshopped. It was a made-up lie. But because it gets round and it becomes a thing, it doesn't even matter if it's true or not. It doesn't matter whether she hit the bloke round the head with a lamp. She's an attacker now.
I think one of the main problems we have as well is the lack of impartialness from these tabloids.
Yeah.
It's the fact that we can have even and
It's just
let's
Murdoch's
bring it up
opinion.
again.
It's just his
Murdoch's
opinion.
It's Murdoch's opinion.
Yeah.
But even to bring it as high as what the BBC were doing in the election,
Yeah.
the fact that there's such impartialness, there needs to be some way of analysing it and governing it, because you can't just sit there and say 100 bad things about this one person, blowing stuff completely out of proportion, like talking about how Corbyn's an IRA member, even though it's being talked about. He's not. Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't
He's
think
not.
the BBC have ever mentioned that at the same time Corbyn met with Jerry Adams, Thatcher had already invited him into Parliament.
Exactly, and they won't
They
talk
didn't
about
mention that. Isn't that in context?
But
that's
this is
a
the
good
thing. That context.
They remove context.
They
and
remove
suddenly
the
it's a different
context.
fact.
They remove the context and they remove the impartiality.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, where is the repercussions?
Yeah.
Where is the repercussions? Every single person who's high up in this country needs to be responsible.
Do you know what? The only thing is though, if you start to govern it, and if you were to govern that in a way that
becomes corrupt.
exactly, because that body then decides what wing is that body on that governs it, and how much do they hammer the other side.
Yeah. After 10 years, they start to get their mates in, but what it is to take it out of those hands, people need to care enough. There needs to be a fucking cultural
revolution, bro.
yeah, and do you know how
generational awakening. That's what it
do you know
needs
what
to
it is?
be.
Things like documentaries and that. If there
And
was
even this stuff.
yeah. If there
These
was a
conversations.
documentary with like the imagery, the sound, everything to invoke that feeling
The
of
surviving R.
they
Kelly
are
theme.
actually taking advantage of your thoughts. No, we're not saying that you're just stupid. We're saying that this is so fucking calculated that you can't think your way out of it, because everything's been a lie, if you know what I mean. And there needs to be some sort of overall look at the past 40 years where they pinpoint each moment that it slowly became worse and worse, and detail how Murdoch got control of these, detail etc. But people aren't interested because they think, well, I'm not fucking left wing, so I don't care, or I'm not right wing, so I don't care. And people have been tribalized to the point where they find comfort in the lies if it's about the other side.
Well, considering we're talking about precedents and that,
Yeah.
the fact that 5 years ago there was all these phone hacking scandals,
Yeah.
and let's
now,
be honest,
the blokes
nothing
sitting on the most famous television program.
nothing
in the
came
country.
of it.
Yeah.
That has said quite a lot about what our government is going to do about these corrupt media
Yeah.
heads.
The
And
Leveson
the fact
inquiry.
that you can walk into any shop in the country and that will be blasted at you
Mhm.
is crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And the fact that nothing's done about it shows
Yeah.
that there is a problem
Yeah.
and we need a solution.
That's it. We need to look long and hard at ourselves. And a comment, it sounds random, but it always reminds me of a lot of things in this country and how we can get over it, past it, and stop these sort of suicides and shit happening. Is someone asked Dejan Lovren, the Liverpool centre-back, why Croatia, such a tiny country, has such a good football team? And he said, in this area of Europe, we have deep, detailed conversations about everything. We don't like surface level analysis, and even at the dinner table, you will go in on things. And if you haven't learnt about it, you can't bring it to the table and shit like that. And there's such a culture on sort of philosophy, and that's what they say about English players going to foreign teams, don't understand any of the tactics, but a Spanish player that's never spoken English in his life can come here and understand the tactics because they've studied it from such a young age. It's normal to go deep into things, and Britain is like the opposite. If you want to go deep on something, you care too much about it, and things like
do your thinking for you.
yeah, and this is the thing, we're talking about Caroline Flack now, how serious it is, how they're genuinely hounding people into this sort of like sadness, depression, mental states and that, and it will be forgotten about because people don't want to think about it enough to care about it, because it doesn't affect their lives. We've got too much of that, like, oh, I'm alright, Jack's alright, so I'm alright, sort of thing. It doesn't matter that somebody else is is going through that, because it probably won't happen to you. And I think that I really hope that, I mean, there is someone, I don't know if you've heard of Stephanie Davis. She's on Hollyoaks for ages. She's just always been like an actor on soaps and stuff like that. She went on Big Brother, and basically she was an absolute wreck. She like lied about what a boy said to her and stuff, and obviously it's Big Brother, so we hear every word.
Oh, was this the one where
The slap and
she said that he abused me and there was all the
yeah,
crying?
yeah.
Oh
And-
my god!
But she's
a
come
bitch.
out. Yeah, that's the thing. That's what's made it hard for me, because I really just dislike her. But she put a video out, started a big petition, and basically she's come up with some things that she thinks should be enshrined in law or should be illegal. And she's put, and it's got over 600,000 signatures now, the petition, and releasing info that there is no evidence for and is therefore false should be illegal. Printing source quotes from anyone or an unreliable source should be illegal. Invading privacy and sharing private info that is detrimental to the celebrity, their mental health and those around them is illegal. Perhaps taking and printing images without permission, releasing an individual's private or health related info or sexual orientation, etc, etc. What if I told you it was illegal, and that these tabloids are in court near enough every week, or at the worst month, getting done for lying?
But you're
There's-
saying it actually is already
Yeah,
illegal?
they go to court and get beaten in court. But
Safe boy.
Sorry, boys.
That's
I'm gonna
alright.
have to shoot.
yeah, sweet man.
Safe man.
See you in a bit, boys.
Yeah, safe.
Safe my guy.
Good to see you, man. But yeah, basically.
Just us now.
Ooh. But yeah, basically they I can't remember the exact numbers, but there's actually a chart and you can access it online when how many times the papers have been taken to court over lying and stuff.
Yeah.
So like it is illegal, but very much like City, the punishments just don't ever amount. All they have to do is like put an apology in. But I could say that you're gay and put it on the front page, and if it's wrong, I can put it on page 23 right at the corner. Turns
I'm
out that
sorry.
Harry's not gay. Yeah, and nobody knows.
No one gives a
Nobody is
shit.
the wiser, but according to law, they've dealt with it.
Meanwhile, my day-to-day life
Everyone
being
still walks
affected.
up to you and goes, you're fucking, yeah.
well, maybe not in 2020, but
Yeah, well, back in this,
Yeah,
back in
yeah.
the day when
But I get what you're saying.
sexual
I get
orientation
what
was
you're saying. Still,
was something to sort of
well,
expose.
well, it is still.
Well, they
still
still-
a,
they-
it is still a subject, I guess.
Yeah, they
Well, I mean-
still use it to expose people and stuff, don't they? And that's the thing. It can be something as stupid
What
and
was the-
unimportant
What
as
was the things on the thing what was the
what she wants to be made illegal.
yeah because I wanted to say something about it.
Releasing info that there is no evidence for and is therefore false.
I remember what I was gonna say now.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Sorry guys.
Ba-ding.
Yeah, I was like, because you were talking about unreliable sources and things like that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think one thing that needs to be looked at and stamped on is the whole an unnamed source.
Yeah.
What do you mean an
A
unnamed
number
source?
10 advisor.
A number
source.
10 advisor. Who's a number 10
What-
advisor?
it's like joining
An associate of no.
that just means
This all
someone
needs to be
standing
stamped out.
outside there.
I
Yeah.
could be a fucking representative
Yeah.
of fucking whoever.
If
Do
you
you know
never
what I mean?
have to name them, technically you could make it up.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. So these tabloids and that are gonna sit there and go, an unnamed source told us Caroline Flack did do it.
Yeah.
Blah blah. And they were very close, or a person close to the source.
That happened a lot with the Barrymore thing.
Bro, I could walk past the street and be close to you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? That doesn't make me a credible source. I think the only way you should be able to source what someone said or what someone thinks, or do you know what I mean? If the only way you'll be able to quote someone is by putting their name out there.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put your name out there. If you're not willing to put your name out there, you shouldn't be willing to put your quote out there.
Yeah, because this is being put to the wider world.
Exactly.
This isn't just
Even
anecdotal conversations.
Even us sitting here now with these microphones, talking about a subject, no matter what it is, whether it's what we talked about last week, talked about this week, or whatever. The fact that we're sat here, putting our faces here,
Yeah.
makes us slightly more credible. Once our faces are covered like this, you don't know who it is.
You're not accountable.
I can sit there and say, oh yeah, I was with Boris Johnson last week and I saw him fucking murder someone from an unnamed source. And then what? And the only way you're not going to believe it is if the tabloid discredits you.
Do you remember?
But if the tabloid takes you, so now let's flip it on its head. I'm saying, I saw Corbyn murder someone last week. The tabloids who have the vested interests are going to go,
fuck it, it's
an
worth getting
unnamed
found out in the future. We'll just
an
run with
unnamed
it.
source suspects,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And then they use, and that's the thing, they dance around with these words, these allegedly.
Law speak. It's law,
law
speak.
speak. And it's fucked up. And this is what I'm saying. There needs to be some sort of...
We need to tear
something,
it down.
man. There needs to
we
be
need
something.
to stop funding it. We need to stop using it. And we need to create our own
There needs to be
platforms
repercussions.
that are, from the start, accountable to the public.
I think a lot of these things, because going back to with even City,
Bro, if
and
Murdoch was in
things like
prison, if
this,
Piers Morgan was in prison,
I was going to say, this is what I was going to say, that we shouldn't be punishing billionaires with millionaire punishments.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be taking
Yeah.
bro.
Well, it's
Go
like this idea
take
that
$1 million off
billionaires
Jeff.
pay
Go take $1
more.
million off Jeff Bezos.
Yeah,
It's not
exactly.
going to affect
Yeah,
him. But if
yeah.
you chuck Jeff Bezos in prison for 5 years,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's going to affect him.
Yeah.
I don't care if he's in some little sweetheart prison or whatever. The fact that he is getting sent away,
Well, even then,
at least that's even
can
that's
we not
that's another
force them-
conversation.
We should
but
force them to even
general
even if
population
they didn't
prison.
go into prison and they just have to go in a room where people can just sit there and absolutely fucking grill them, ask them whatever they want, shame them, whatever, fucking shout at them. But they need that, like, I think they're so far removed from the general
Yeah,
public that
totally.
they forget that we're all just normal
They
people.
need to be
and
brought
that.
back to reality
Yeah,
by
yeah,
real people
yeah.
because they get to this point where
Go sit in
they
a cell
become
with
a
someone
fucking-
that's in there because they had weed on them.
yeah.
Whilst you're in there because you've lied about and spread it to
you've
the world.
ruined
Serious
as
crimes.
Rupert Murdoch, you've ruined
Bro, there's
millions
he's
upon
got-
millions
bro,
of
he's
lives.
got a body count.
Course
Rupert
he
Murdoch
has.
has a body count.
Of course
Like,
he does.
What he has done has destroyed, mate. Not to sound like a fucking XR protester here, but like he could be part of the reason that half of the world isn't inhabitable one day because he's convinced people
That's
not
what I mean.
to care about.
That's what
it.
I mean.
This is like you say, when you set dangerous precedent, it gets more and more dangerous. It doesn't sit at that level or below. It just gets worse. People then find
It
a hole to pick in the
intensifies.
original, and then it just building blocks.
It's
It
just the
goes
levels
up
of
and up.
desensitization as well. Once
Yes,
you desensitize
exactly,
to that bit,
exactly.
the next bit's going to be.
How
nothing
long
for
is
you.
it until we stop caring when people stop commit suicide? How long is it until it's part of reality TV?
Well, how long is it until we start making these tabloids and the
Unfortunately, none of that's going to happen until the boomers fuck off. Because
Yeah.
they don't even want to know that. Like they know that it's full of shit, and they'll still spend £2 on it every day.
yeah, but it's just
Like, well, you can't argue with that. Like that's just the way they want to be.
and that's because they are installed into this
They find
mindset.
comfort
where
in
that's
reading
the way
headlines
it
about
is.
other people. Or they're famous, but they're still pricks, and we're
Yeah.
not. It's that sort of
Because
like,
they're famous, we're allowed to talk about them like this.
yeah.
Like,
and it's like
Meghan-
no,
just
you-
'cause Meghan Markle
paparazzi,
fell
you
in
should
love with
expect
someone.
paparazzi. You should expect a sort of harassment in a way that people are just going to come up to you when you're having dinner and ask for shit. Like that is part of it. But yeah, it's the lies. We can't start throwing that in with
Yeah.
that's just public life.
Yeah.
Like, hang on. No,
Like, I understand.
truth's supposed to be public life.
But on the to play devil's advocate, I
Yeah.
understand making a paper that does talk about things that like even
Gossipy.
gossipy things.
Yeah.
Like I get that, but
It doesn't
we
have
can't
to be
we can't
like that.
allow these gossipy tabloids
To turn
to
into
turn
gospel,
into
lie
to
factories.
lie factories. Yeah, I think that there has to be repercussions for these tabloids who are not presenting evidence for their claims.
Mhm.
If you're presenting a claim, you have to produce some evidence.
Mhm.
Produce a video, produce this, produce that. But then that's when people turn into TMZ.
Yeah.
That's when they start having these little
Yeah.
meetings with the police
I mean-
and all that. And
Yeah. A stark reminder.
like
of
look
this-
at 6ix9ine situation.
Yeah.
The amount of shit that's come out about that, like
Mhm.
like did we as the public really need to know?
Yeah.
We didn't.
No.
We didn't. But New York police and fucking TMZ, they're in
Cohorts.
They're in cahoots.
Yeah.
Cahoots. In
But
cahoots.
yeah, I think like what you're saying about how do we hold them accountable and shit like that.
Accountability.
A big reminder of how deeply ingrained it is BBC's biggest political presenter, Andrew Neil, member of the Tory party. So he has a political membership, not even an alignment. He has a membership. Also, he's the owner or chief editor, either one, of The Spectator, a very, very, very right-wing magazine. Like, very. They have known anti-Semites and racists, and they all believe in eugenics and black people being dumber than us and shit like that and all that sort of shit.
Just like, what's his
and
name?
he'll sit there.
Cabinet.
Yeah,
drop a
Andrew
name.
Sabitsky, I think his name is.
Thank you.
But yeah, and Andrew Neil will sit there, and he's allowed to. He's allowed to sit there and pretend you're a Labour MP. Can you explain the anti-Semitism crisis in Labour? Can you explain why your leader is anti-Semitic? This is viewed as an impartial interview based on facts, stacks, data, and the truth. This guy
By our
edits for a
state
magazine
broadcaster.
that has been charged for anti-Semitism. One of the people he pays when he leaves the BBC studio is publicly anti-Semitic. But he's allowed to go onto the BBC as an impartial broadcaster and grill other people about what he pays for. How are we ever going to get to the truth without tearing it down completely? But I think the point you was making when we first started, tabloids is the most important because they are the most outright bullshitty.
Yes.
Like completely, they just make stuff up. I mean, I don't think I said it on the episode, but I said last week that they said that Corbyn will ignite the second Holocaust the day before the election. No comeuppance, nothing, because Corbyn lost, so there's no one to hold them to account anymore.
And that, what's it called? The Tories like sacked it. The investigation into press. What was it?
Leveson inquiry. Yeah, give the Leveson a good inquiry a Google because it's mega interesting.
Then you'll realise why the press was so against Labour, so pro-Tory as well. Like,
one party was going to shake it up, and the other party's going to make it more like American Fox News.
And the other party is just gonna let the other party do what they wanted to do.
Yeah, and the third party will just let the bad party do what they want and say that they're more aligned to the good party and get away with it. British politics. No, but
Nick Clegg.
Yeah. But it is. It's so deeply sort of twisted round that it's impossible to be impartial when what you accuse people of on your shows is what you're absolutely fine with, and there's no context that like actually the view that Jews control banks is actually a common view amongst academics, not just the stupid racist public or stupid lefty protesters. It's actually fueled by the journalists and shit. They ain't fucking... They're little fucking poshos and shit. They're kids that went to Oxford and Cambridge and didn't do that well, so now they're just a fucking journalist and that. Like, these aren't normal people that got there through their investigative talents. These are mouthpieces, people that they know have a set view. And Noam Chomsky interviewed Andrew Marr, who's another flagship BBC political guy. And Noam Chomsky asked him and said that they look for reporters with certain political views and shit like that. And Andrew Marr says, so you think I'm only here because of my political views? And he goes, no. But you wouldn't be here if you didn't have those views. And it's the truth. Like... We need to tear it down and build it back up from the start. Truth, news, information should not be a privatised
It's like there's a certain alignment which has worked their way to a certain position.
Yeah.
And then the only way to combat that is to weasel them out.
Yeah.
But we can't weasel them out because they're in too much power.
Yeah.
You know,
And not
got
enough
Murdoch.
people care enough.
Murdoch has billions upon billions upon billions of pounds.
The best lawyers in the world.
So he's going to get the best lawyers in the world. He's going to do all this and all that. and so nothing's going to happen to
Yeah.
it. Meanwhile, Australia's having the worst fires it's ever had
Yeah.
in recorded history.
Do you know what the thing is as well? Even like opposing these newspapers, like the problem with it is, and I still
It just
stand
becomes
by,
a culture war. You're just a lefty and you're
well,
just
the other
jealous because
thing
they're
is-
all rich or
the
whatever.
other thing is as well as like as much as like I read probably more left wing papers anyway.
Yeah.
But well, papers I say I read it online every now and then. But
Yeah.
even then, I look at some of the tactics that are employed by like during the elections, and I think it was you that pointed it out to me that actually just made me think. Hold on a minute, am I in like a left wing like echo
Bubble.
chamber at the minute?
Yeah.
Like, am I? It was you that pointed that out to me. Like, But
The
then you
left
look at
winger
it-
pointed that out.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you
We
look at
take
it though, and you think
responsibility.
about it. What was that again? It's probably going to come back. I've probably quoted Nietzsche enough times on this show already. But he who fights with monsters, you have to employ the same. You become a monster fighting
Yeah,
with
that's
them.
it.
You have to employ the same tactics. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't take a gun to a fist fight.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's the one thing with I will add with Corbyn is that we've got to learn. Next time, you just tell him it's a fucking lie and tell him to jog on.
Mate, do you know what? This is
And
the
He
thing
was
as
too.
well.
He tried to be too honourable with
Mate,
it.
Well,
that's
yeah,
it,
he's an
that's it,
honourable man, and
sadly.
honourable
That's
men
it.
can't fight unfair
No, exactly.
battles. Like
No.
he should
You gotta
have,
be as
he should have
dirty
been
as
there
the
for 20
opponent.
years later. He's not. He shouldn't. He's not the guy to instigate the war on the lies that
That's
we're
the
told,
problem,
and not
mate.
even
He's
not
so
even on a
deceived.
political thing.
Lamb to the slaughter, mate.
just the
that
fact,
was.
yeah, just the fact that he wouldn't name call and things like that. He'd never talk about someone individually and shit like that. As honourable as that is,
Mate, what they
we
did
don't
to him
live in
was
those
disgraceful,
times.
mate.
Yeah,
Like,
his
absolutely
reputation
ripped her
tarnished.
apart.
Good, honest sounding people committing suicide. The global warming crisis becoming a lie, or to people is becoming a lie just because there's been lies about the climate before, etc. This is going on right now. Tomorrow, someone else will be affected by it. And, I mean, look, hours is in like 2 or 3 hours after her death was announced, they put out a big piece on Katie Price and how she lives like a tramp and shit like that. And it's
Oh
just
yeah,
like,
she just came
will
out and
you
said, "I
learn?
don't want any public. I don't want to be public at all."
No.
Literally, she came out and said that the other day.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. And like this Stephanie Davis coming out and saying that this is just one step too far. It was all fun and games and innocent and gossipy, and now it's become a bit
It's real.
nasty.
Someone's died.
Yeah, it's real.
People have died, and
Yeah.
I think bringing this back round to what we were saying about a lot of these ITV presenters and stuff talking about how
Just putting
they're-
the buck on everyone
they're
else.
just
yeah.
say, well,
Us?
coming round,
We
well,
could
coming,
never.
well, the fact that they're coming round and saying, "Oh yeah, we're so sad about her death," blah blah blah. If you're gonna talk about that, you need to talk about why.
And what
and
you're
you
going to
need to
do
p-
to stop it.
And if you have a platform, because unfortunately we don't have a platform like that, we can't talk to the whole country.
Yeah, more,
So people
just
aren't gonna
before
listen
everyone
to us.
goes to work.
Exactly. Whereas these people, this is like, so it's like you take the Gary Neville situation for example. Him going on Sky Sports and saying something like that was
If it
like
wasn't Gary Neville,
it was such a
that
shock.
could have cost him his job.
Exactly.
But he's the main guy at Sky Sports now.
Exactly.
So
He
it's
got- they
too
can't-
obvious if they get rid of him.
Exactly. So, but then you got these ITV presenters who are gonna be, "Oh, Caroline, we miss you," and that. So anyway, today in the shit cunt son,
Well, this
like,
is
do
it.
you know what I
Just
mean?
think,
They're being
some point
paid
this
by the
week-
people who killed the person
Yeah.
who they're
yeah,
sorry that
we're going to be getting
It's
that off
mad.
of Piers Morgan this week at some
Exactly.
point. We're going to have that guy, the guy that printed fake pictures of soldiers torturing people and put military personnel at risk, the guy that hacked dead girls' phones, etc., etc., and he's going to be sitting there telling us why we should ban anonymous accounts because of how sad it is and political manoeuvring and stuff like that. There's no place for
and
it.
it's because they're gonna use language orientated scare tactics. Trolls. It was the trolls.
Yeah,
it
they
was
got
this.
her. They
It was
got to
that.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have
the
you
abuse. But what they do to her isn't called abuse,
Exactly.
etc.,
Have you
etc.
sat and
Exactly, it's-
spoken to like older people about the internet and all of these buzzwords that they throw around?
Well, yeah, they all think it's
Mate,
just
it's
a sweaty
actually
don sitting
crazy.
in his room.
Like, I every Saturday I go and I do French clubs, so I chill with like people that are older. But I see a lot of different opinions and different like people's different opinions on things and the way that people think about things. and one of the ones that they one of the things that they always bring up is internet. They're all scared of it.
Yeah.
It's mad.
Yeah.